You're listening to the Next Team podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Next Team podcast. And today we're doing cricket. To many of your surprise, even us, to be fair. It's been a while since we covered cricket. I think the last time we did cricket was the England-India test, and I think that was ages ago. Now we are in the business end of the IPL, and to be fair, what a second edition or second stanza, as they like to call it, it's been so far. Can't wait to get into the action actually. With especially next week, we have all the eliminators as well as the qualifiers. So a couple of really exciting matches to look forward to. So before we get into things, Tarun, take it away.
If you're watching this, thank you so much for all your support. We are putting out content for cricket, F1 and football. So if you're interested in any of these sports, please do check us out. We are on Instagram at the Next Team SG. Follow us there for all our latest updates and posts. And while you're at it, please also follow us on TikTok. We are also there at the Next Team SG. And we're also on Spotify and YouTube as the Next Team podcast. And please do subscribe to us on YouTube. Please do follow us on Spotify. It helps us out a lot.
Yep, listen to Tarun, guys, as always. Anyway, so let's get into the action. So obviously we don't have time to cover all 8 teams. So instead we'll be shifting our focus to the top half of the IPL table so far, and that being KKR, RCB, CSK as well as DC. So we'll go on a chronological order starting from KKR. So boys, KKR, any surprises that they got in?
I mean, after the India leg, yeah, definitely they turned it around. I think they had only won 2 in India, so yeah. But yeah. I mean, they've always had the star power to make it to the playoffs. And yeah, thankfully this time they actually made it because of NRR instead of the last 2 years where they missed out because of the same thing. So yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I think, yeah, it's actually kind of a surprise. If you'd ask anyone like in the India league itself, like if KKR were going to qualify after like the abysmal start, it came to a point where even the head coach Brendan McCullum was actually quite angry, quite animated, to be fair. You know how Kiwis are, they're not really that, they're not yes, Brendan McCullum is that kind of aggressive guy.
Aggressive, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't really expect someone like McCullum to actually be so animated and be so critical of his openers. Like he was using big words like lack of trust in his batting lineup. Like he was talking about how the openers actually wanted him to trust. Wanted McCullum to back them and trust them, but they weren't repaying the faith. So it's quite a turnaround. And I think for me, the key is Venkatesh Iyer, my man Venki. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys feel like? His numbers are amazing this season. If I'm not wrong, I'm actually looking at the stats right now. He's averaging 39.83 in the 7 matches he's played so far. I mean, more than decent for T20s. If you're averaging more than 30, you're a class player. In my opinion, if you're averaging over 30, you should. That's already national team stuff, to be honest. And yeah, it's pretty impressive. But I think for him to break into the national team, he probably has to do it like across a few seasons. Definitely. Like we saw how long it took Sky to actually break into the international colors.
So the moment he broke into it, he lost form. But thankfully, he's showing some of that class again.
Yeah. Yep, yesterday's match was insane. But yeah, in the interest of time, we won't cover that. Let's not digress. Although, Mumbai, haha. Let's go, CSK. Anyway, that sidebar aside, let's go back to KKR. So I think Venkatesh Iyer has been key. He's also very, very handy with the ball as well. He bowled some useful overs, especially in the back end of the tournament. Like whenever his captain needed him the most, he's always stepped up to the plate.
Hasn't he bowled at the death before? Like
he has.
Games? It's pretty impressive, honestly.
It's pretty impressive. And my man has an MBA in finance as well. I think it's common knowledge at this point. He himself admitted he's better at studies than cricket is sort of his hobby in this sense. But I mean, when your hobby is as good as his, he may as well not have had that.
Actually, a very interesting background. Because most parents in India, they're like focus on academics, and then like if you get your chance at cricket, okay, try. But his mother was actually the opposite, where she encouraged him to go into cricket. So yeah, it's quite interesting to see his journey. And I mean, he's lived out both his fantasies, because
I
pretty
mean,
much
that's a dream for all of us, I guess.
yeah,
Like
he's
to
enjoyed
excel.
his he's enjoyed his finance career, and now he's playing in the IPL, and he's in the playoffs, and he's a big reason why they're in the playoffs as well. So that's, I mean, yeah, hats off to him.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, another player. Okay, I mean, this guy hasn't been doing too well for KKR, and that's the captain, Owen Morgan.
Mm.
Is there a cause for concern for them going into the business end?
Yeah, I think the middle order a bit of a question mark, but having said that, they've qualified, so I think you have to give him credit. It's the same way like how people will ask questions about Dhoni, but I mean, we finished the top two, so like no
Yeah,
complaints from here.
that's definitely true. Tarun,
I
what
mean,
about you?
like, yeah, I
Yeah.
really think KKR have a quality lineup as a whole. Even if you discount maybe Owen Morgan is out of form, but he's still doing well as a captain. I think he's still making the right decisions most of the time. So in that aspect, so you have to give it to him. I think Arjun, you mentioned sort of like a similarity with Dhoni, and yeah, like betting is out of form. Dhoni is not what he was a few years ago, and I think maybe Morgan is facing the same thing. He's not what he was at his peak, but he's still performing up to a certain standard, and the rest of the team is good enough at with the bat to cover for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's fair.
personally, I think it's not as big as it's not as big of a problem for KKR right now. But
Fair point. Yeah.
but
Yeah,
if it comes down to maybe you need they are in a stage where you need the captain to motivate your team, maybe they're chasing a big score, then that's going to be a bit of a challenge because his first game will be coming up Kohli, I mean, we say everything, we say so much, but at the end of the day, he's still a very good captain. And
He's a
mentality
goat,
wise, your captain has to be there, lah. So,
yeah, but let's not discount Morgan. After all, he's a World Cup winning captain. I mean,
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
he has a World Cup.
he has credentials, so
Yeah, he actually does
Exactly.
have.
He
If you
does.
told me like I don't know like 5 years back that Owen Morgan will lift the World Cup, I would say you're joking honestly. But I mean he's proved it. He's managed to win the World Cup, so you really can't say anything. But yeah, I think KKR have done exceptionally well to actually pull it back after the torrid start. I think everyone has performed, especially the spinners. Actually, people like Varun Chakravarti, who of I think second half of the tournament has been amazing. I mean, as far as I remember, he's almost his economy rate has always been around 6 or even lesser actually in a lot of matches, as far as I remember. And who else has been chipping in with some? I think Sunil Narayan especially is very difficult to pick. I mean, at time, I think a middle portion, especially like past couple of seasons, we all thought like he lost his, that X factor, where he's like the mystery spinner who, like, like Ajanta Mendes, when he bamboozled the batsman. And I think past couple of seasons he was picked quite well. Like, I mean, batsmen were able to pick his balls quite well, and he was getting sent all around the park. But I think this season, I don't know what he's doing differently, to be fair.
I mean, his action is it's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. It just seems like semi-pro cricket stuff, but it works.
It works.
it works.
It's more
It
than
works
works.
really well.
In more than works, honestly. Yeah.
Fair play to him.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. It's pretty amazing. So I think KKR overall very well balanced team, and I think back end they also lost Andre Russell. I think who arguably is that star, that player who can sort of get you a win from nowhere, the X factor player, and.
But having said that, do you not think that Shakib can more than fill that role? Because I feel his form in the 2019 World Cup was exceptional before his ban and everything. And I mean, he can bowl in the middle overs as well. And
definitely very, very handy all rounder.
as we get into and as we get in the back end of the tournament, like spin is going to be playing even more of a factor. We could see teams playing, 3 spinners even like KKR could. I mean, KKR are doing it right now, Chakravarti, Sunil Narayan, and Shakib Hassan. That's like 12 overs and 3 bowlers that are not very easy to hit. So who knows? They could be sneaking up here in terms of favorites.
That's true. I think that right now among the 4 teams, okay, I'm not going to base it on just league position, but I think overall you would say that there are dark horses for winning the tournament. Definitely. Like even though their consistent form, despite their consistent form, I'll still consider them dark horses. But yeah, I think overall everyone has chipped in the second half, and yeah, they've missed like key players like Pat Cummins, who has been
Yeah.
like a mainstay at KKR for quite a number of seasons, and then especially with the UAE pitches helping fast bowlers as well. Actually, it's quite a surprise to see spinners do so well. Typically in UAE conditions, I don't know. I thought it favors fast bowling more. Correct me if I'm wrong, because we saw the previous edition of the IPL where you saw like players like Anrik Nokia or Kagiso Rabada, who were sort of the pick of the bowlers in the whole tournament. And yeah, I don't know. For me, this it's been quite a surprise that spinners are actually doing
Yeah.
really really well in this tournament.
But I think you're right, because I mean, we are seeing pacers, get the best out of this pitch, especially those pacers that have that extra bit of speed. Like you said, Nokche, he's clocking 150s, and like
Yeah,
he's rushing batsmen into shots, and he's getting a lot of purchase from that. That's why I think Delhi. I mean, we'll speak about it later, but what a bowling attack they have. So it's
definitely.
very interesting.
Okay, so I think on that topic we can move on to the next team, which is RCB. East Alakap Namade.
One day
Is
it'll be
it
through.
is it going to be their year, boys? Finally, is King Kohli going to end his streak? It's Duck rather. Yeah.
Mm.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying this because I'm a CSK fan, but
Uh-huh.
I don't see it happening. I just think
Really? Okay.
compared to us, compared to CSK and also DC mainly, I think it's going to be hard. It's going to take a very big effort from them.
Even after the DC loss, how they bottled it yesterday.
Yeah,
Uh,
I guess the lack
think
of experience could be something that hurts them in at the end. But
You're talking about RCB or DC? Sorry.
DC, because I mean
DC.
they're still
Okay.
a pretty young team, but
Yeah, they are.
it's like their young players are now like at that stage of their career. They are 2 or 3 years into their IPL career, where it's like a perfect mix of experience and youth. And I don't know, I just feel like they have the bowling attack. Their batting seems to be clicking more often than not.
Mhm.
Their opening pair, I mean, Shikhar Dhawan and Prithvi Shaw are going along quite well. And
Yeah. I
questions
mean,
can be asked about maybe
arguably,
Kumar.
I would say they're the best in the tournament.
Yeah,
To be
on
fair.
paper, I'd say they are. That's why I
Okay.
think RCB, even though yes, they have won 2 games against DC, and yeah, I guess matchups are important. But it's just the RCB factor. Like it's like in the
I
playoffs
don't know.
they haven't been able to deliver their best cricket, and
Mhm.
I know the IPL hasn't been a very historical tournament. It's only like 12 or 13 years, but in those 10 to 12 years, we've seen that only a few teams are consistently able to do well in the playoffs, and that's what MI, who are not in this time. Too bad for them, but yeah,
Another beauty. Yeah.
no.
yes, CSK
Yeah.
and maybe KKR when they do get in,
Yeah.
and SRH maybe. But I mean, RCB is one of those teams where they just blow hot and cold, so randomly you just don't know what's going to happen.
So why do you think that is though? Like, I mean, tournament after tournament, like, is there something wrong with Kohli's captaincy? Do you think it was a right? Okay, first of all, do you think it's the right decision for him to announce his sort of? I mean, okay, this happened quite some time back, I guess.
Mm.
He sort of denounced his captaincy, said this will be his last season as captain for RCB. I guess it's also on his workload overall as captain for all three formats for India as well as RCB. So what do you guys think? You guys think it was the right decision to take that call right before the start of the tournament, like the second half of the tournament, or do you guys think he should have held back until the end of the season?
I think maybe the timing of the announcement was a bit off for me
Mm-hmm.
because it can affect morale. I don't know if it will, or I don't know if it has now, but it is one of those things that can affect morale, especially for players who might be who are very expectant to the captain, and now they're like their captain is leaving. There's a
The
big change
ship,
coming in.
yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean you had to think about that. But so far, would you really say it has affected RCB a lot? I don't think so.
I don't know. They seem to be
Hardly.
performing quite well.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're fine.
For me, I think the key for RCB's resurgence, or okay, I wouldn't say resurgence. I think they had a pretty good first half. I think to be fair, and that sort of gave them a nice cushion, even though they initially started quite poorly the second stanza, I must say. And but throughout the second half of the IPL, I must say that the key has been Maxwell, Glenn Maxwell, definitely. I think he's been promoted to number 4. ahead of AB de Villiers, which is I would say it's a debatable call to me because I mean I think any team will be quite. It's a ballsy move not to play AB at Fowler. I mean he's a class batsman. He's done it time after time, but unfortunately he has the South African blood in him, and they end up bottling. Okay, but I mean enough of that. Enough about that. But yeah, but Maxwell has I think what. How many 50s does he have this season? He has quite a number of 50s.
4 or 5, I think. Yeah.
Let me just take a look at the stat. He has 650s actually this season. It's pretty insane.
I think this leg he scored like a few consecutively, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
He just keeps going. Which I didn't expect.
My man is averaging 45.27, which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, we don't expect that from Maxwell because usually he's that guy who once in a while he'll blow your mind with some of like the craziest innings. Then he'll go quiet for a string of games.
Yeah. There's always a case of Big Show with being the no-show, Like the Aussies like to call him the Big Show. But yeah, I think his contribution this season has been key. With ball occasionally as well. I think yesterday he opened the bowling. I remember watching him open the bowling. I think he's handy with the ball as well. But I think his exploits with the bat are key for RCB this season, I must say. And also
speaking of the ball for RCB, I think have to mention Harshal Patel.
Oh yes,
the bubble cap holder. Yeah,
he's been
too good this season.
Yep, I think he's unplayable sometimes. I mean, except for Jadeja, who smashed him for 37 runs, but
out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, but
out of nowhere.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to bring that up. But
of course,
he has to be. He has been impressive. I can't put it past.
I guess for the sake of argument, you can say that one thing that differentiates this year's RCB from maybe previous editions is that they finally have a bowling attack that can restrict teams at the death. I think that's been like the Achilles heel where most of their superstar teams over the years, right, has been really front loaded with amazing batting talent. I mean, that's always been a staple of RCB.
Mm-hmm.
But where they get hurt is at the depth in those overs from 17 to 20. They didn't really have that standout bowler who could throughout the years, I guess. I mean, they have had like Dale Steyn, they have bowlers here and there, but they haven't had that's like collection of players that they can choose from. I mean, nowadays they can call either Siraj or Harshal Patel, and then they can share like 4 overs at the end. And I mean, that's such a huge boost for them. And even though they have an amazing batting lineup, it always helps to have bowlers that can win you that momentum in the last few overs, and then you can go into the chase with a lot more confidence. Whereas in the past, RCB have been like they motor along quite well for the first half of the innings, and then the last 10 overs they concede at an obscene rate, and then they're just going in like, oh my god, how did we get to this stage? And it just feels like this added mental pressure that's been weighing them down for so many years. So maybe this year, who knows?
Yeah,
Isala Cup Namde maybe. But I still doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite hard to back them, honestly. I won't lie. It is hard to back them, but you never know. Actually, I mean, to be honest, on that Kohli incident, I mean, I didn't actually weigh in on that, but on Kohli announcing his departure, I'm thinking in terms of the players, maybe it's his last season, so they might push that extra for him. You never know. That could be enough to get them over the line. But having said that, Kohli's luck hasn't always been that great. I would say he's one of the best in terms of win percentage, consistency at the top.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he just doesn't have that lady luck that comes with winning trophies per se. A little like Ole. No, just kidding. But okay. Let's not open that can of worms. But
let's keep that for the next episode.
Pramod has entered the chat. Oh my god, what?
Yeah. All right. I think for RCB, I think yesterday Shrika Bharat played a fantastic knock. Last ball 6 to
Definitely.
win the game. I think he's been fine for RCB, I must say. His keeping abilities. I mean, to be honest, I was questioning the decision to play him. Who was the keeper before that? AB, right?
AB. Probably AB. Yeah, probably AB.
It was AB, correct. So, I mean, to play a local, definitely there are a lot of talents, hidden gems in Indian cricket. But I mean, I didn't see this one coming when they started him. I didn't expect Kohli to back him because RCB haven't been that team to back players. Our local lad Tim David hasn't been backed all that much. Yeah, but big ups. I mean, it's a proud moment being a Singaporean to see. I mean, a guy making his debut in the IPL. You never thought you ever see that, but yeah.
He was at the crease for like 30 seconds.
I mean, still, it's
He's
still a
gonna
historic
wait.
moment.
That's,
Wow,
that's
we're gonna
still
have to wait
30
for
seconds
the
more than the rest of
yeah.
Singapore combined.
Yep.
uh,
Yeah. Majula Singapura, let's go.
hopefully he gets a chance next year with another franchise with the mega auction coming around.
Hopefully. I mean, I think he's a really good player actually. He just hasn't been backed properly. I mean, one match to drop a guy is a bit unfair.
Yeah, I mean that's how RCB roll though. So
yeah, maybe
they
never know.
drop players for less.
Maybe CSK sign him, give him a bit of a run. CSK, if you're starting, you're most likely going to start for quite a number of matches.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully CSK picks him. Let's see.
Team David, if you're listening to this, please go to CSK.
Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, sorry. Last thing on RCB. I think Chahal has bowled really, really well. I have always been I've been quite a big critic of Chahal. I have to admit. I don't know. It's probably a bit of an agenda against him. I never rated him to begin with.
Is it the RCB agenda?
A bit.
Yeah. But, to be honest, he has done well at this.
He has done well. He really has done well. I have to concede my argument that I think he has proven his critics such as myself wrong this season. And you never know, he might even. I think India hasn't even confirmed their T20 squad yet.
Should be soon, I think. Tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah, so you never know. He might make a dark horse entries with rumors that Varun Chakravarti is actually carrying a knee injury. Actually, I'm not sure how much substance there is to that. You never know. You never know because Kohli always likes him, so yeah. With that, you never know. Okay, I think we can move on to our team, boys. Our team. Let's go.
Yes,
Whistle Podu, boys.
Hashtag yellow.
Yellow, yes. Okay. Where do we start?
Okay.
Where do we start?
Are we going back all the way to the start of the season, or do we just start from phase 2?
From phase 2, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, we had a very, very strong start. Don't get me wrong. I think we had a good cushion like RCB, but carrying over the form, I think it starts right at the top. Faf and Rutu, what a fine Rutu has been. I think there was a time when we were talking about how, CSK are one of those teams to actually back their players, and look how well he's actually come. I would argue that he's one of the best openers India has actually at T20 level. Maybe KL. Okay, KL is okay. KL is undisputed. The man is averaging 62 this season, so
I think isn't Rutu
he's in a league of his
second?
own.
Isn't Rutu second or third? Something like that on the runs list.
Hold on, let me just. He's pretty close to the top.
I believe Faf is second, and then
Faf is second. Third. Rutu is fourth. Shikhar is for third.
Oh yeah, Shikhar Dhawan. Okay.
Shikhar Dhawan is for the third. So yeah, KL Rahul. I mean, there's no competition. KL Rahul is in this league of his own, honestly, and he might, to be honest, he might still end up being the lead run scorer, despite.
Yeah, they could get knocked out in the first round, and he can still win.
Yeah,
the
true.
Cap.
You never know about these things, exactly. So. Yeah, I think for CSK right at the top, they're fantastic. Both the openers. I think Du Plessis has been complementing Ruturaj very well. The perfect blend of youth and experience. I mean, to have a guy as experienced as Faf on the other end, it must be invaluable for Ruturaj. He's definitely feeding off him. That's clear to see. And then Moeen Ali, I don't think he has had a. I mean, he's had a decent second half. No, nothing too fantastic.
No, actually, he's had a very poor second half.
Really? Okay.
His stats compared to the India league is a huge difference.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. I think he raised the bar. We didn't really expect much from him.
No, but like you look at his strike rate, it's like 108 here compared to like 140 something in India. Like I think they showed a graphic and then like, okay, yeah, he's really struggling in these conditions. So that's a worry. Yeah. I think that's the main worry for CSK fans, the middle order. I mean, we talk about how well Faf and Rutu have done, right? But then that raises the question, like, if those two don't perform, right, then do we really have a chance in the playoffs? Is that kind of question. Obviously, hopefully Faf and Rutu can continue the work they've done. I mean, Rutu has been amazing in this UAE league, especially. Like, he's kicked it up a notch. His strike rate is mental. I mean, the 100 he scored, right? I think the second 50 he scored off 17 balls or something mad like that. But yeah, I guess that's the concern. middle order, because I mean we have an aging Dhoni who has looked out of sorts. We have
Yeah.
Raina. I mean Raina has been injured for the last few matches, but I presume he's coming back for the playoffs.
I think they might back Uthappa actually.
I don't know. Uthappa looks just as bad, if not worse. At least Raina has the X factor. Raina still hits a four assist somewhere.
People tend to forget that Raina actually had a very good first half.
He did.
People are
He
just
did.
writing him off just because of his poor start to the second half, but
Yeah.
he was actually banging 50s. The first match back in India, he actually banged a nice 50.
Isn't that the only 50 he scored?
True, but I thought he played quite well in the India. Like, I don't know, people.
Yeah,
were,
I mean,
in
yeah,
general, okay, in IPL, I think 50s are a bit hard to come by. I think only the special, really, like someone like Maxwell who's having a stellar tournament can have 650s. So you can't really gauge that on. You cannot really gauge a batsman on 50s. Maybe the average is a better indicator of how they are performing.
Mm.
I think Raina's form is definitely a cause for concern. Whether that will affect us in the latter stages is yet to be seen. But let's go further down. I think Jadeja has been the standout player by a country mile for me. He's that player who like, the fine line between winning and losing, like the team with match. I think IPL is when you shorten the format of the game, right? I feel like sort of the gap in terms of quality. Let's say you have better players on paper, right? That gap between a good team and an okay team is reduced significantly, and the difference in between winning and losing is your players who are your match winners, and that for me Jadeja is key. Like Jadeja is, remember that, right? Who was it? RCB, yes, the most recent match. We had no right to win from there. We needed 26 from 12 balls. My man smashed. Who was the unfortunate bowler who got smashed?
You mean KKR, right?
Was it KKR? Yeah, sorry, my bad. I mixed up RCB.
It was KKR,
sorry.
I think it was
KKR.
Krishna.
Prasid Krishna got smashed for 20. Was it 20?
20 something runs.
20 something runs. Yeah. We had no right to be winning on a pitch that was difficult to bat on. My man just came in and just smashed him all over the park. It was, that's a difference, honestly. Like, teams. You've seen teams like SRH who have sort of lacked that finisher or someone who can win you matches from nowhere, And I think CSK time and again have had that. Sometimes you have Dwayne Bravo coming out of nowhere with these amazing knocks out of.
To be honest, Bravo's batting form has been pretty good this season. He's coming with those like 20 off 8, 21 off 7 kind of cameos. And maybe you don't notice it. Yeah, you don't notice it as much because, like you say, it doesn't come under the 50s columns. But Dwayne Bravo has been amazing this season.
With the back.
Yeah, and the bowling, the guy, he's bowling 120 averages, but the number of variations he has, he can probably bowl 6 variations in an over and get like a few wickets doing that. The guy's amazingly talented, and we're lucky to have him.
Definitely, yeah. And I think our bowling has been pretty good. Josh Hazelwood has been very consistent with this. He's always been consistent with his line length. And I think he's quite an underrated T20 bowler, to be very honest. And I'm glad that we've given him some opportunity.
Yeah. But we still have that ability to get smashed. Shaha and Hazelwood have got smashed in the last few.
Speaking of smashed, Thakur has been brilliant the second half.
Bowling, right, especially.
Bowling has been. Remember when we sort of wrote him off?
In the first leg.
First leg, after that Stella Gava performance, he comes back, gets smashed in the IPL. We thought his career is like, okay, he made an appearance in Australia. That's about it. Okay. Yeah. He's a good player. That's about it. And nothing great. But he comes back in England. He has a fantastic series. He comes back to IPL. He comes back to the IPL in UAE. He has an amazing time with the ball. So I think, he's definitely someone that is going to play a key role in CSK's push for the title. Definitely. He's almost been Dhoni's go-to man, which is, I never thought I'll say this. I never thought I'll say that, for Thakur, because he's always a hit or miss for me. And for once, he is really consistently hitting for us, and that is really invaluable. And I think we haven't seen his exploits with the bat yet in the second half of the IPL. We haven't had the need to. But definitely, that is going to be really, really key for us as well. We already seen what he can do in England, so I have no doubt in my mind when the time comes, he's going to perform for us. Yeah. Anything else for CSK? I think that's about it. Pretty much it, right?
Shout out to Rayudu, I guess, just quickly. The guy is the only guy in the middle order with some kind of form.
Bhatti.
Yeah. And he played a pretty nice 50 against who was the team that we lost to, like second last game? Was it DC? I think it was DC.
DC,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
The second last game was DC, yeah.
yeah, the one where Dhoni just looked absolutely out of sorts.
Yep. Fair
But yeah,
enough. Yeah. But I think we have a fair chance, I would say. Well, only concerning thing for me is probably the 3 losses leading up to the
yeah,
qualifiers. I think it's sort of you want to peak at the right time entering into the later stages. But
definitely.
this is some cause for concern. But CSK, Dhoni, you never know.
But then
He
again,
always has the magic to get over the line. Yeah.
I think something about the coaching setup just puts them in the right mindset when it comes to the playoffs. More often than not, when we go to the playoffs, we perform and we play our best cricket. So
it's the match winners as much as I mean, we still have the oldest team, I would say, in the
by comfortably
by a country mile. And yeah, I guess despite having those old hits, I mean, you still have young guns. It's like Ruturaj. Who else? Actually, okay, that's about it. Sorry,
I think that's about it.
That's about it. Okay,
that's honestly about it.
Okay, maybe Deepak Chahar and Shardul Thakur.
Decent.
Decent,
okay.
Younger guns.
And younger guns.
Younger guns.
I would still say these younger guns are match winners. That's the key. These guys, and I mean, and when your young guns are going to be your match winners, occasionally your older guys can perform. Like Ambati Radu can come in with a insane. If I'm not wrong, he has the highest strike rate in the IPL so far.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because of the knock against MI.
Yeah.
First leg, which we somehow lost, but never mind.
Exactly. It's okay. It's okay. They're not in the playoffs. That's all we need.
I have to keep reminding myself. That's the only thing giving happiness right now.
Yeah. But okay. Yeah. All right, guys. So before we end things off for CSK, right? So it's an important question. Our main man, our Thala, Dhoni. Any thoughts about his future? Do you think he should move on? Do you think his time is up, or do you think he has a lot to offer for us? I mean, still has a lot to offer for us. Yeah.
Arjun, do you want to go first?
So obviously hasn't been his year with a bat, especially when you compare to 2019 or 2018, where he was actually one of our leading run scorers. So the drop in form is quite alarming. Although I think we can expect it, because now he only plays IPL, if I'm not wrong. Doesn't play any cricket outside of that. So I mean, as good as a player as Dhoni is, I mean, if he's playing just 1 month of cricket, it's a bit hard to just go out there and smash bowlers at will, which is what he used to do. But like we said, his experience as a captain, I think his cricketing IQ itself saves us 20 to 30 runs probably. And that's not even an exaggeration.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
It's an undeniable fact. The man he's certified 100. No doubts when it comes to his feelings, that his IQ of the game.
I mean, he can probably teach, like, if cricketing was a course in Harvard, right? He's probably your head, your head professor, whatever you call it, your dean.
So I guess,
probably, yeah.
So I guess that's why you need to weigh it against. Are we willing to play with 10 players effectively when we go out to bat, if we can keep his brain within the CSK think tank? And then I guess the follow-up question is, then why not push him to be like a mentor next year? Because with 2 new teams coming in, right, I think the retention policy is going to be even stricter. And can we really risk letting go like Rutur, or leaving players like Ruturaj, Faf? I know Faf is pretty old, but I mean, he's in his best form right now. So the next few years, you want players like that, and Jadu as well, to stay with your franchise. So are we willing to give up that much cap space, one thing, and give up the spot for him, when we could maybe look to transition him to more of a coaching role, and then bring in a captain that I guess resembles his leadership style?
For me, it's Faf. I think the obvious answer, next captaincy decision for me is Faf. I mean, I know he's old. He probably only has 2-3 years. It's not a long-term fix, definitely, but potentially maybe we could
a transition.
Yeah, he could definitely handle the transition very, very well. He's an experienced guy. He still has a lot of cricket left in him. I mean, look at the guy is just flaunting his abs.
Yeah, he's 37.
Anyone told he's 37? Oh my God, it's insane. I mean,
still
the
making
fitness
athletic
levels.
catches look effortless as hell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's flying around the pitch.
Brilliant player, honestly.
Yeah, well, class player. So, I mean, imagine, for me, I completely agree with what Arjun said. I think it's a very good point you raised. Maybe my thinking is, if let's say Dhoni, okay, first of all, I don't think realistically Dhoni's not going to go this season. I think if I'm not wrong, he mentioned in an India Cements event that he's going to retire. He's going to, if he were to play his last match for CSK, he's going to do it in front of the fans. So
It should be nicer.
it'll be nice. Also, I think the fans are patient enough and are definitely willing to give him that time.
Agreed.
So in reality, I don't think that's happening. But ideally, the next captain after him, I see personally, at least for 1 or 2 seasons, so that I mean, okay, first of all, it's Faf du Plessis, and I believe that Faf du Plessis can actually mentor someone within the ranks, perhaps like Rutraj or could be anyone. Honestly,
So in the youngsters, who do you guys see? Like on the topic you mentioned, Rutu.
could be Urtu. Honestly, I think his potential captain material definitely, like possibly. It is big shoes to fill. Definitely, don't get me wrong. But I mean, if you were to give me, you could give it to someone like Jadeja, especially. Jadeja has been a senior pro for quite some time. I mean, definitely his name is up there as well. But I mean, if I was, let's say, if it were up to me, it was my decision. I was the coaching staff, or I was Srini Mama, for example. My thinking would be a long-term thinking, at least for the transition phase after Dhoni. Definitely, I don't think a young guy can immediately fill in the shoes of Dhoni. I think it's too big.
I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, I think Ruturaj has now only now has he established his place as a regular in the team. I think subsequently he has to build his reputation as part of the leadership group within the team. And I think eventually when time comes, I think when hopefully Faf, I mean, I think it's going to be Faf. He's an international captain. I think logically it makes sense to me, unless they're going to go for an India bias and go to Jadeja, which I'm completely fine by also. But for long term, I do see Ruturaj as a future captain for CSK if we retain him. Hopefully, I mean, if good sense prevails, we will retain him, I think. Yeah, Tarun, anything to add?
Honestly, I think you guys have both covered most of my thoughts. I mean, Arjun talked about how Dhoni can transition into a mentorship coaching kind of role in the long term. Obviously, I'm talking about long term, not maybe next year, not in the next couple of years, but in the future, yeah, maybe Dhoni in a mentorship role, and that is good. That's also going to be something that it's more of a motivating factor for other young talent, because Dhoni is such an inspiration. I'm sure there's a lot of players of maybe our generation who grew up watching him as their role model.
Definitely,
So that's going to be
I think it's obvious.
I mean, if I had the money, I would have had another poster with Dhoni there. So,
I mean, after every match, like we just see youngsters like just begging for his time and for his expertise. And
precisely. So I mean,
imagine having that.
When you have that kind of a figure in the coaching staff, I think that's going to be a big motivation to the team.
It's huge. Sure. It's absolutely huge. Yeah, whoever is going to take over is. I mean, it's a smooth transition. I think India taking Dhoni as a mentor is a genius move in my book. Honestly, his experience is invaluable. I mean, I know Kohli is not probably the kind of captain who likes to take advice. I don't know, because I think he tends to.
I think he takes an exception to Dhoni. I mean, he loves him.
Yeah, he probably loves Dhoni.
he sees him as an older brother almost. So I don't think he has any problem with that.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I think also Dhoni backed Kohli at the low points of his career. So I think definitely Kohli and Dhoni have a good relationship.
Let's not forget who groomed Kohli to be the captain of India.
Exactly, definitely. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for CSK, right? More or less. Hopefully the cup is coming home, boys. Let's see. Okay, moving on to the table toppers, DC. Surprised, first of all. Are you guys surprised that they came out on top?
Not really, to be honest. I think last few years they've been improving every season. I mean, last season they were very close to winning it. I mean, one step away, but I think Mumbai that set of players these last 3 or 4 years have been incredible. And even though they missed out these playoffs, it's very hard to beat that team. So right now, with those Mumbai Indians out of the picture, you feel like this is the opportunity for Delhi, because after this year, it's a kind of a reset for every team, and we don't know whether Delhi will have this kind of balanced team next year. So
that's true.
This is their timer, I feel.
I think they have a very good blend of experience and youth. And first of all, right, I don't think their captain gets enough credit, to be honest. I think Rishabh Pandya has done a fantastic job. I mean, it's not easy to handle so many big players in the team. It's not like I think Okay, if I'm talking about rift within a team, like in terms of big hits, I think one team that comes to mind is KKR. I've heard rumors that Dinesh Karthik and Andre Russell haven't seen eye to eye. There was a period in time, I think last season or the season before, they kept changing captains. Like first it was Dinesh Karthik, then it was Owen Morgan.
Again, Morgan, yeah.
Yeah, so I think you need a captain who is able to sort of. It's also a bit of man management, I guess, like trying to understand how different their dynamics with each other. And big players, how they are. They like to stamp their authority. They like to play the game a certain way. I mean, I think he's managed that expertly. He's always obviously relied on the advice of some senior players like Ashwin, who else is there? Shikhar Dhawan. Yes, I mean they are definitely experienced head around him to guide him. But I think he has done a fantastic job to gel the team, and also credit to Ricky Ponting. I mean, I think he's been key in the coaching staff to actually back Rishabh Pant. Because after Shreyas Iyer came back from injury, I mean, he's been performing well, don't get me wrong. Like, he could have easily restored Shreyas Iyer back as captain, because to be fair, he didn't really do a bad job per se. I think Shreyas Iyer has had
a fantastic captain in his own right.
Exactly, and he hasn't put a foot wrong. And I mean, I feel very sad for him, the fact that he didn't actually make it into the
T20 squad.
T20 squad. I think he really deserves
maybe
it.
an opportunity.
Never know, but I mean, right now Ishan Kishan and Surya Kumar Yadav are finding form at the right time. So I don't really see. I mean, if had Ishan Kishan not played that knock, maybe you could say he had an outside chance. But right now, I don't think. I think in fact it's actually like like India. The selectors are probably saying, "See, I told you so." Like they picked the right time.
I guess this is a bit of an unpopular opinion. I feel like Shreyas Iyer should be backed over Ishan Kishan.
It's not really unpopular. I think I agree with that completely. I think Shreyas Iyer is a class player. He has been ousted out of the national team for no fault of his, because of he dived and then he got his shoulder dislocated. And yeah, I mean, that injuries happen, and I feel like they've backed Shreyas Iyer, and he's always repaid his faith. I mean, he's always repaid the selector's faith time and again. And just because of an injury is a bit unfair. And I don't think Ishan Kishan, I think he's done well, no doubt. But I don't think he's done so well as to warrant a place, a secure place in the sort of squad.
He doesn't have the experience that Iyer has at the international level as well.
Exactly.
Which is a worry. And I think that's the exact thing we did in the 2019 World Cup, where we, for some reason, chose to back Vijay Shankar. I mean, as a Tamil guy, you're happy, but you were backing Rayudu for 2 years leading up to the point, and then you just decided to drop him. It just didn't make any sense. That stability in the middle order has been a big issue for us across formats. It's the reason why we were successful in MS Dhoni's era, and it's the reason why we are not successful in Virat Kohli's era, in my opinion. The middle order has not looked settled for quite a few years. We are still looking for a number 4, which doesn't make sense when we produce batsmen every other day. Every other day some guy turns up, and for some reason we can't solve this number 4 problem. And this omission of Shreyas Iyer seems to me like we're repeating past mistakes. But he's been a big part of Delhi's success, I guess.
Hopefully we see him in India colours soon. Hopefully in the World Cup. I think it's criminal not to have him in the team. I think he's such a good player. I mean, there was one match, I think, who was it against? DC. It was a low-scoring match recently. And he played this fantastic knock to get them over. I think, if I'm not wrong,
he anchored the innings very well.
Brilliant knock. And I think Ashwin was the one that finished it off with 6. I think, if I'm not wrong, it's SRH. If I'm not...
I think you're right. I think
it's SRH. I think it's SRH. And I think Shreyas Iyer played a fantastic knock when everyone else around him was like, those are the key innings that defines a player. I mean, I'm talking about, high scores, definitely. T20 is a fast game, But this low scoring games is a real test for, that will, to me, in my opinion, I feel that those kind of matches are the ones that separate the great batsman from the good batsman. Where you're able to compose yourself.
I think the discipline to take it deep and get the game done for your team.
I mean, I saw shades of Kohli against Pakistan. That Mohammad Amir spell in, I think, 2016 Asia Cup or World Cup. I forgot which one it was. I mean, Amir was unplayable that day, but Kohli single-handedly won us the match. I mean, there's just class. And I saw shades of that in Shreyas. I know the stage isn't as big, international tournaments are obviously much more at stake. But I mean, to me, it's criminal he's not there. That's all I can say. So I've been moving across the team. I think DC are very well balanced. I think over the past few years, like what Arjun said, definitely they have good batting depth. I mean, right up from the top, Shikhar Dhawan and Prithvi Shaw. I think both are fantastic talents. Actually, why didn't Shikhar Dhawan make it to the team? It
I feel like
was
that might be because of the personal issues.
yeah the
Yeah,
To
wife
be honest,
issues.
yeah, to be honest.
The wifey. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Probably. Then Priti Shaw, fantastic player. Hetmeyer, useful knocks. Hetmeyer is I think he's a I wouldn't call him underrated, but I think he's a very valuable player for
it's one of
He
those
plays those
impact
cameos.
players that you want when you're chasing a big score.
exactly. He's that X factor. I think all the West Indians generally always have that X factor. When you need them, when like out of nowhere they can win you games. I mean, also they can throw away matches, but that's the no. But that's the thing with the X factor player. Like someone like Andre Russell. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Certain some of his knocks are insane. Like out of nowhere he'll win the game for KKR, but then he'll bottle some of the, I mean, a more responsible. They lack a bit of responsibility, but also
But that's what you expect from those kind of players, I think.
exactly. Yeah. So that's
That they play with freedom and try and take the game away from the opposition.
correct. That's my, I would say, assessment of Hetmeyer. Down the order, brilliant options in terms of spin. Aksar, Ashwin. I think Ashwin. Enough said. I think all of us are huge fans of Ashwin.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just sad not to see him in CSK colours, I guess.
It's okay, next year.
Next
There's a chance next year.
Honestly, got a good chance.
You
I
never
don't
know.
think I don't think they'll retain him. Right?
Probably,
Very
yeah,
unlikely.
probably.
Very unlikely, yeah. I mean, I
knows?
love to see him back in CSK colours, honestly. And I think that the team is very well balanced, honestly. And in my opinion, they are favourites to win it. I think they've been and I think they've deserved to be top of the table. They're the most consistent team by a country mile. And even to be honest, like yesterday's match against RCB, they should have won it comfortably. They kind of bottled it. It's quite fun.
Catches, right?
They dropped a lot of catches. I think that cost them. I mean, Avesh Khan I remember the last over. I wasn't watching it live. I rewatched the last over. Avesh Khan was actually laughing at Bharat for missing one of the balls, and then Sunil Gavaskar. And then Sunil Gavaskar was like, "Don't laugh, young man, don't laugh." And then my man got smashed last ball 6. It was brilliant to watch. So, but I mean, Avesh Khan, by the way, also has been a find for them. I think he's second in the wicket takers list. So he's had a brilliant season and key for their success so far. But I think it'll be quite interesting to see how they do in the later stages. I don't know whether they haven't. Okay, I think have they won the IPL before as Delhi Daredevils? They haven't, right? As Capitals, they came closest was the final last season.
Last year, I think. Yeah.
You never know. They could get over the line because I think past 2 years, 2 to 3 years, I would say they are the most consistent team in my opinion. So for me, they are favourites. I think clear favourites to win the tournament. But anything else to add for DC?
I think the consistency is going to be key, not just for DC. Like when you look at all 4 teams, it's going to be. I think it might be the deciding factor when you look at it, because form-wise, especially, DC are carrying their momentum into the playoffs. Yes, they lost the last game, but they did bat very well. So it was kind of like a one-off, I would say. So if that's a momentum they're taking into the playoffs, then it might be a bit too easy for them.
I mean, let's see. You never know. But okay, so I think we're done covering all 4 teams. And before we end the episode, let's just get a quick prediction. Who's going to win the tournament? Let's maybe start with Tarun.
CSK, man. I'm gonna back us till we mathematically cannot win it.
Fair enough.
We could need 36 runs off the last ball, and I would still back us.
Mathematically.
What happened mathematically possible?
I mean, we could get like 6 no balls. You never know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Smash everything for 6.
Srini Mama could have some ideas.
What about Arjun?
I mean, I'll definitely still back CSK, even though it's quite clear that DC are the favourites. I think if CSK are to win, right, then we need to beat DC tomorrow. Because I feel with an older score, right, if we have to play the extra game in the second qualifier, we're gonna turn up to the final maybe a bit fatigued. And I mean, like we've been seeing it recently, right? Bravo has been rested in between those quick turnarounds. So
and we don't have Sam Curran as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not easy. We brought in this guy called Dominic Drake, I think, to replace him.
Never heard of him.
He apparently was man the match in the CPL final I think it's a Dwayne Bravo recommendation, if I'm being honest, probably. But who knows? Maybe he comes out of nowhere and wins us the title.
Yeah, you never know.
But yeah, if we win the DC match, then I'm actually quite confident that we can pull it off. Because I think RCB and KKR, we have the wool over them this season. The only matchup that hasn't gone our way this season is DC. We've lost both, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one team that kind of is our bogey team.
Bogey team, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to back
like
CSK.
Even if we win the first
it.
DC match, we're still going to be playing against him in the final.
That's probably very possible.
I think it's a fair call.
Most likely outcome.
Yeah, true. Hopefully.
Fair call. Okay. Okay. I know all of you wearing the CSK jersey. I think I'll get. I think I'll get stones thrown at me if I say any other team. But I am going to say it. I'm going to put up a brave front, and I'm going to say Thala Cup Namade boys. Let's go.
For the memes.
Not for the memes actually. I actually think they're going to win. I'll tell you why. I feel that they're actually peaking at the right time. To me at least. I feel like this last win against DC, it's a huge momentum boost, and I think it's a huge shift in mentality to get over the line the way they did. I think it gives them a mental edge over KKR going into the qualifier, and I think they are peaking at the right time. That's the most important thing. I remember watching. Who was it? I think it was Sriram. I don't know if you guys have heard of him before. He is part of RCB's coaching staff, and he gave this interview talking about how ABD hasn't hit his peak form yet, and how that's a good thing. And I completely agree with him. I think the fact that arguably your best player hasn't sort of peaked yet, coming into the later stages, might be a good sign for you. I mean, we saw shades of ABD. I think he got a few out of the park.
Yeah.
But I think he's just waiting to launch, and he's going to have a huge score in one of the matches. I feel personally, and and to be honest, I also feel like kind of it's coming for Kohli. I mean, how much can a guy endure not winning something? I think it's a bit unfair for him. Like,
I hope they at least make the final. It would be nice to have like a derby match in the final. CSK RCB would be quite interesting.
I mean, yeah. At this point, I don't even mind. Like, yeah, if CSK don't win it, if RCB win it, right? Honestly, I'm completely fine with it, because I think Kohli.
Just for Kohli.
Just for Kohli, because I think he's not put a foot wrong, to be honest. I just feel he's been unlucky in these tournaments. I mean, he plays the game in the right. I mean, in my opinion, he plays the game in the right attitude. I mean, yeah, some old timers like my dad might say no, but
but then again, the curse of RCB is so strong. The guy scored almost 1,000 runs in 2016 and still couldn't win. Something. I mean, that just says something about the franchise.
Yep. Yeah, it's just.
And with ABD, just a question. You said that, like, he said he's not come into form, so that's a good thing because he can actually come into form in the playoffs. But from my memory, maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember him performing that well in the playoffs so far in his career. In the crunch games, he hasn't really performed. I mean, he's an amazing talent, one of the best batsmen ever. But has he really done it in the big games for RCB? I wouldn't say.
I mean, there's always a first time, and
hopefully, that's the thing.
I wouldn't put it past AB. That's the thing. I think if anyone is able to do it, I think if you in a run chase, I'll back AB all day. No. To
be honest, I think it's Maxwell more than him. Honestly, it's more important for me that Maxwell continues his form than AB. Because even with AB not playing well, right?
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But I think for RCB to actually go all the way, I think they need AB to perform. That's my opinion, at least.
You believe they cannot rely on Maxwell all the way, which I think, fair.
Because I mean, Maxwell can be a no-show straight away. I still feel there's this inconsistency about him, which will come to the fray at some point. But AB is class. Class is permanent for me. And yeah, I mean, Kohli, no questions. Kohli will definitely get a 15 on the matches. I'm 100% sure. I'm back. I'm putting money on it. He's getting a 51 on the matches. 100%. I mean, I cannot fault him in his batting, his attitude, the way he goes about his game. I mean, he's the most consistent player. You can't really say just because he hasn't won something, and for no fault of his, because he's actually, in terms of his numbers, in terms of percentage wins, he's probably one of the best captains for RCB as well as India. So I mean, I just feel he's unlucky, and I think at some point a man's luck has to change, and I think this is the season for. This is the season for it to happen. Yeah.
Would be quite a thing if they could pull it off.
Yeah. All right. I think we've sort of come to the end of the episode. We hope you guys enjoyed the coverage of the second stanza of the IPL. And we'll be covering, or rather, we'll be posting the next episode right after the three games, which consists of the eliminators as well as the qualifiers. And I think this should be up sometime around Thursday, before the big final on Friday. So it'll be sort of a review of the three matches as well as the preview for the final. And we hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. And before we end it off, Tarun, take it away.
Once again, if you've listened to this longer than usual episode all the way, we really thank you, because it's
You're the OG fans.
We actually, this cricket is it's not a main sport, so when people watch it all the way, it's definitely very inspiring for us. So once again, please do follow us on Instagram to stay updated with all our latest updates, and we are there at the Next Team SG. Also follow us on TikTok. Our memes man BK will be working hard to bring out solid content. And also do subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. We're on both these places as the Next Team Podcast. And all our links will be in the description below as well.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Tarun. And so thanks guys so much for the support. We'll see you guys in the next episode of the Next Team Cricket. Bye-bye.
Ciao guys.